This has to be some of the craziest group of white girls I've ever seen. I would say if I've ever seen. Okay. I did not see this coming. Okay. I'm thinking the show would be like, the Real Housewives, they're going to fight over, they call me names. No, swinging is involved. Polygamy, friendship, domestic violence, and all of these things that you're like, what in the world? Didn't know Mormons get down like this. The way I watched the first episode of this season and my mouth was on the floor like this from beginning to end, I was so flabbergasted that I was hooked. I had to watch it, and I look forward to watching this show each and every evening over the last week because it's so good. Like, literally, the producers could not even write this drama. They're just probably like, point the camera there, point the camera there, point the camera there. It is literally so crazy. Taylor is not the mean girl here. Whitney is not the mean girl here. At the very end, I am going to tell you who is the mean girl and who is a good friend, if there is one. Now, what I like to do is to go down each and every character and give you my take. And they're not characters, they're real people. So I'm going to say each and every person in this reality show and give you my take on them. But before we do that, thank you so much for joining me on the next episode of the I'm About It podcast, where I share my thoughts and opinions and my feelings of what I'm about over the last week or days or hours in these days. But yeah, no, I've been really obsessed with this show. I've been really about this show. It is good. I would say Love Island USA is here. The Secret Lives, you know what? Scrap that. This, when it comes to reality TV, in terms of like how good the drama is, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives are here. And Love Island USA is here. You probably thought Love Island USA was the craziest drama. Nah, this is, if you don't watch this show, you're probably like, oh my god, it's like Real Housewives. It's nothing like Real Housewives. It's nothing like Real Housewives of Atlanta. Nothing like Real Housewives of New York or California. Nothing like Real Housewives of Maryland. Nothing like, not even Real Housewives of Utah. Apparently that exists. Apparently that's good too. Not even like that. So we're going to go in each and every character. I'm going to start off with Taylor. I'm going to start off the bombshell herself. Let me just say, she's beautiful. Beautiful young woman. Let me just start off with this. She has to be the most level-headed, honest person that one of the people I've ever met. I've ever seen on TV. Actually, sorry, I've ever seen on TV, not ever met, but I've seen on TV. But yet makes the craziest decisions. Of course, we're looking at through the lens of, okay, these people are Mormon, quotes on Mormon, because are they Mormon? My sister's watching the show currently, and she's like, no, these are Christians. Girl, these are Christians. These are not Mormons. Makes a lot of sense. Now, because as a person has honest, like she's not afraid of confrontation. She's honest. She's so level-headed. She know as a 29-year-old, and yes, she's 29. She knows the difference between right and wrong, but yet makes the most craziest, abominable, like blasphemous decisions, out of this world decisions that I've ever seen as a Mormon girl. I don't know. And she does these decisions. She does these decisions with she acts recklessly, and we see this in the beginning of the season, right? She acts recklessly and then is somewhat surprised at their consequences. She acts in ways because she feels like there are no consequences for her actions. I don't know if because she's a content creator, she's an influencer, she's a big time creator. I don't know why she acts that way, but it's the craziest thing. Anyways, so let's go through all of the things that she's happened to her. And as a 29-year-old, She acts like she's 16. Honestly, the entire cast acts like they're in high school. Taylor acts like she is escaping, and kind of she is, but she just escaped bondage and just came onto this earth. She was birthed onto this earth a few days before all this entire season, and she's acting as if she's never tried drinking. She, never had romantic relations, never been married, never had friends. Like, a lot of them were acting like they never had friends. And you're probably like, okay, that's reducing it a bit, but I'm gonna break it down for you. I'm gonna buckle up, y'all. But if you haven't watched the season, I would save this video and come back. Okay, this is buckle up. Okay, I'm gonna start from the beginning. So we have Taylor. Taylor created MOMTOK, #MOMTOK, created the #MOMTOK, where Mormon ladies would come together and create TikToks about certain things. It's usually them just dancing silly in front of a camera, and they post it on TikTok. And she did it originally with these two group of girls, two best friends actually. And then she started to incorporate more people. It's not what you think. It's not a cult or anything like that. It's kind of like a club, okay? And they all benefit because if they create TikToks together, then their personal accounts go viral. Even though they don't have a group account, they create videos together and then they distribute those videos on their own personal TikTok accounts. Which, the way they're describing it as if there's an actual TikTok MOMTOK. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But I think they all have their own individual TikTok accounts and they create videos together and they distribute the same video on their own platforms. Anyways, so she created this whole thing. So she was married to this guy. I think his name is Brandon. I could be wrong. And we're going to talk about the swinging situation. So before this entire season aired, there was not recently, but this happened last year or 2 years ago. In the season, though, we're seeing it as it's happening, right? So they filmed it right after the swinging situation. So let me tell you the swinging situation. So Taylor and her husband were on the rocks, and they were both sleeping in separate rooms. And I didn't watch the Nick Viles podcast episode that she had with Taylor, but I've only seen TikTok videos. Now, Taylor and Brandon started to do romantic relations, kissing and all that and more, with her best friends and best friend's husband. So they started to do these swinging parties where they'd be doing these romantic relations. And so they would do it. Everyone's having a good time. They would swap husbands, swap wives. Everybody's okay with it, consensual. So it all comes to a head at this one swinging party. Up to this point, Taylor started to create emotional connection with a couple that she brought in. It's not her best friend's husband, even though her best friend's husband is also part of this, but it's with this random guy who's married with a girl who's also part of the swinger thing. So she's developed an emotional connection with one of the husbands. Her best friend's husband has developed emotional connection with Taylor. Taylor obviously is not going to be dating and does not like her best friend's husband, but the best friend's husband told Taylor. Taylor then told her actual husband, Brandon. So anyways, one night at one of their swinger parties, Taylor's sitting in a corner and having a conversation with the guy that she has an emotional connection with. That's not her husband. The two guys, who are husband and her best friend's husband, are talking, and she's like, okay, I need to get out of here because the pressure, I don't know what pressure she's receiving, but that's not really clear in the Nick Viles episode that just dropped, that it's not really clear as to why she left, but she left the house where one night there was a swinger party like they usually do. She left the house and she goes to her best friend's house. She stays at her best friend's house and invites the guy that she has an emotional connection with. Now, the emotional connection guy has been texting her because the wife to that husband, the wife to that guy, told him, go see she's okay. If she's willing, like, come over here. Let's play. Let's do some romantic relations. So Taylor is like, okay. Taylor invited that guy over to her best friend's house. I will never be confident enough to invite a man that I have or will do in romantic relations over my best friend's house that I'm staying as refuge, protection, because I want to get away from the drama. I would never invite a man over to my best friend's house to do romantic relations, but that's what happened. She's staying in the spare bedroom of her best friend's house. The guy comes over that she has an emotional connection to. At this point, she's so drunk, to the point that next morning she's like blackout drunk, didn't remember the events, but she knew that she wanted to do romantic relations more than kissing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The next morning she wakes up, the guy leaves the home and goes back to his wife. And then she wakes up. She knew that she wanted to do some romantic relationship with the man, but she's feeling and seeing down here lady parts, and quote unquote, she says that it's destroyed down there. That's literally what she said in the Nick Viles podcast, to that effect. And she says it's not, trigger warning guys, it's not essay, she says, but it's destroyed down there. Let me just say this. There are different forms of essaying. Trigger warning, I am talking about essaying, trigger warning. There's different forms of essay. There are different ways in which consent needs to be given and obtained throughout different points of the romantic relations. Okay? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So just because you said yes in the beginning and the girl is slurring her words and is obviously not like here mentally, does not mean the other person or the guy should go ahead. To me, it looks like there's something murky there. I'm not going to say it's essay, but the way she was upset explaining this seems like something more happened that she wasn't okay with. Anyway, she leaves the best friend's house. She calls her husband to pick her up. Her husband asks her, hey, wifey, did you end up doing something with the guy that you have an emotional connection to? She tells him no. Later that day, she then ends up telling him, yes, I actually did. They actually break up and they leave, go separate ways. They're no longer husband and wife. They get a divorce. Her husband, Taylor's husband, the Brandon guy, ends up telling her best friend that her husband has an emotional connection with him. So it ends up being this crazy thing where the original MOMTOK got destroyed and she lost best friends, and she filed divorce against her husband. Now we're starting the show seeing her talk to Macy and getting the whole details about like the whole swinging situation, why she did it. It's clear to me the reason why she did it is because she wanted to clear her name. She was traumatized. She wanted to set the record straight of what she actually experienced. And number 3, she didn't want all of this to be blamed on her. And number 4, she wanted people to understand that it was not only her being part of this. There were it looks like several other people, like few other couples that were part of this whole swinging party situation. And she didn't want the rumors to get out of control. But it's clear to me too that she was quite traumatized in making that video. And even after the fact, in the beginning of the first episode, when she's talking to Macy about these things, she's traumatized as well. So that's where we start off with the show. Everybody knows, the entire world, not just the swinging people, that these Mormons are doing. There's a swinging group among MOMTOK. So that's where we see it. Now, Taylor then starts dating. So within weeks of separating from her husband, Brandon, she meets a guy named Dakota, which we all see throughout the season. Dakota seems like a nice guy, has a history of addictions, and he really wants a wife, really wants a house, the white picket fence, the dog, the kids, the all. Like now. It's quite clear in the first episode that Taylor is still healing from her last marriage, healing from the things that happened in her marriage, healing from things that, from the world. She has trust issues. She has a lot of issues. But Brandon is seeing that as like, nah, I want to marry you now. I'm going to put a ring on you now. Not Brandon. I'm going to say this. Dakota is a psycho. Okay, I don't know how you can meet a girl within weeks and say that you want to marry her. Maybe that's a Mormon thing. I don't know. Don't know how you can meet a girl within weeks after everything that she told you about her ex And how it went down, because I'm assuming that she did, because she's a very honest person. If you go to her and ask her a question, she'll give it to you honest. She'll give it to you straight liquor, straight whiskey, no cooler, no sugar. Okay, that's how Taylor is, and that's why I'm also so it's so weird watching such a person who is so smart, so level-headed, knows from right and wrong, so honest, so accountable, make horrific decisions, which makes me to believe that she's doing this because no one has told her that you can't just like be 29 and making these decisions. And number two, she wasn't exposed to these type of things that she's just doing now. She's doing it because she thinks that she can. However, you're still a mom with 2 kids and you have a business and you can't be acting wild. Anyways, I will go into that. Anyways, back to Dakota. Dakota's a psycho because I don't know how you can jump into a relationship within weeks. And I get it, they did it because after she separated from Brandon, her ex-husband, dated Dakota, she was then pregnant 3 months later. 3 months later with a baby with Dakota. Okay, so we're seeing that she's pregnant, and of course, maybe in the Mormon faith, it looks like she made the decision to then keep the baby, because that's not really discussed. It's like, okay, I'm pregnant, I'm going to give birth to a baby. Okay, so that's just assume she's going to get a baby. Okay, cool. So she's pregnant with a guy she just met within a couple of months. Doesn't want to, it's quite clear she wants to be single. She wants to party. She wants to live her life. Quite traumatized, healing with a lot of things. And now, to me, is forced to have a baby with the guy she doesn't really trust, doesn't really like, has been quite abusive, quite controlling. And she's dealing with all of these issues as she's pregnant. And that's where we see. Now, in the beginning of her finding out that she's pregnant, she gets drunk and then her ex comes to her home and there was an altercation. There was DV, domestic violence. And then she gets charged with a few charges. He gets charged. She's then on probation. As we can see throughout the season that she can't drink alcohol. Obviously, she's pregnant, which made it easier for her to follow, I'm guessing, the conditional sentence of her probation, the conditional rules of her probation. She can't go into bars, and that's what we see in the last 2 or 3 episodes of the season. So we see her be pregnant. She learns that she's pregnant. She's then charged. She then goes to jail. And that's why there's a huge gap between the first and second episode, because we see her get charged with DV at the end of the first episode, I believe. And then it jumps like a year later where she leaves jail. Like, her legal troubles are kind of settled. She just have to follow the rules of her probation. And then we see her picked up. Okay, she's pregnant. We see a little bit of bump, and then we move on. I am so concerned about Taylor's life at this point, right? As the season goes on, I seem to like Taylor, but Taylor does seem to make really bad decisions. But it is clear to me she doesn't have, our parents have been really good at letting her know what you're doing is wrong. We don't like this. Change. But they're not really good at articulating what other options are available for Taylor that she can go on, because it's quite clear that she's doing all of these horrible options, just picking horrible things. And because her parents are saying, this is what we know, marriage, kids, Mormon, this is what we know. If she doesn't want to go down that path, it's up to her parents. Honestly, at the age of 29, it's okay to still parent your kid at the age of 29 and say, hey, you don't have to stay with Dakota while you are having this baby. You can still be single and raise this kid. And you can see those concerns that she's having throughout the season, which is, I don't want to be a single mom. But it's okay. You seem to have the MOMTOK girls. You have your mom who is there for you throughout the season. It's okay to raise this kid on your own. And Dakota seems like he would be a good father, but not a good partner to you because you guys both trigger each other. Our parents are not really good at telling her the other options that are available to her as a woman on this earth. She doesn't have to stay with Dakota. She doesn't, and she shouldn't, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't make any sense why you should be triggering each other just because you guys have a kid. They're baby mamas for a reason. Like, you could just be his baby mama, and that's okay. You could just be the single mom, and that's okay. And it's so disturbing to be watching her be so distressed because she feels like this is the only box she has. She goes, it's either being single mom or being with him. And it's okay. Like, no one is telling her that it's okay to be a single mom. Like, no one is having that conversation on the show, which is so concerning to me. And it's weird too because, like, we see Layla, the only non-white girl, the black girl on the show, Layla Taylor, who ends up being divorced and raises her kids on her own, and she's so happy for it. Instead of going to Layla and be like, what would it be like, what is it like raising your kids on your own? She's like, I only have 2 options. You have many options, Taylor. You really do. So at the end of the season, I end up liking Taylor. It does seem like, according to the TikToks that I've seen so far and according to the end of the episode, it seems like they might stay together, which actually makes me want to vomit. It really does. It really makes me want to vomit. But good luck with that. Next, since we're on Layla and Taylor, and I wish actual Taylor like all the best. Layla and Taylor, Layla Taylor, so the black girl, her name is Layla Taylor. Layla, honestly, she should go on Love Island. Like, she's single, girl. Go do your thing. Like, I have no things from her. Like, we don't really hear much from her. She does seem like one of the sheeps. There are a couple of sheeps in this group of MOMTOK girls. There are a couple of sheeps. And we're going to talk about the definition of friendship as well. Okay? A couple of sheeps. Next. Ooh, let's talk about Whitney. I think, like, we see a lot of Taylor and Whitney and the issues that they're facing, and then the instigators and factors that are causing those issues, and then we're going to go into the other characters. I think that the other people, the other moms, I think that's a better way to go about this. And since I have the cast and the next girl is Whitney, might as well. On my laptop here, Whitney Leavitt, also beautiful girl. I'm going to say this right now: her husband's gay. Her husband's gay. Whitney is right. These mom girls are not her friends. She should just act like they are business associates and act accordingly. These people are not her friends. You're telling me my friends just heard my husband has a sex addiction, was texting guys and girls. Sorry, girls and guys on Tinder and Grindr. And that's the true reason why we left to Hawaii for a few months. And no one's talking about that on the show. No one's talking about the fact that her husband is gay. Nobody's talking about it. I don't get it. Maybe it's like the Mormon thing to like bury it underneath the rug. And maybe that's like the Mormon thing to bury it underneath the rug or act like, oh my God, I am delivered. I am saved. I'm no longer gay. Which is bad. We know. Like, I know, guys. It's really bad. This is my wife. And he could be queer. He could be bi. Like, I think he's bi. But I'm sorry. So you have a sex addiction. Okay, so you're doing it with girls. There's like another layer. Why are you doing this? So you were texting guys. Like, why are you texting men? You can get that addiction with the girls. Why are you texting guys? You gay. So that's and like I'm seeing the husband's crying, like one of the cringiest moments of the season. Like, I wanted to vomit as well when the guy is like, thank you so much for being there with me. Thank you so much for being with me, wifey. Like, I don't know. I think he's crying because maybe he would have kicked out of the Mormon church, but I think they went, it's my assumption. I think they went through a lot of counseling, and her mom's on the show. Whitney's mom is on the show. Her family's going to see this. I'm sorry. Her mom is also very pretty. Like, the parents are actually very, like, everybody here is really gorgeous people. I'm sorry, but it's like they have to go through counseling for them. I think that's why they came back to Utah, because they did counseling, they did the work, and that's why. Listen, the fact that we didn't even talk about this, and this is like a blimp. I feel like this is the show acts like this is a blimp. This is actually like a red building. Like, I don't even know. And no one is there for Whitney and helping Whitney. And listen, there's a reason why I'm going to be with Whitney's side. Let's talk about Whitney's issues. Whitney is jealous of Taylor. That's facts. But I don't think Whitney is not jealous of Taylor because she's leader of MOMTOK. I do think Whitney is jealous of Taylor, the fact that Taylor, it's true. Whitney is right. Taylor has went through the most horrific things in a year. In a year. And everybody is like brushing it underneath the rug because everybody's like, oh, that's Taylor. But when Whitney's going through something, and what she's particularly talking about, which is she posted a TikTok, because all these moms, all they do is dance to random sounds on TikTok. And these girls can dance. Like, I'm surprised, to be quite honest with you guys. I've watched some of them. They can dance, okay? Now, Whitney made a TikTok of herself dancing while she was in the hospital room in a room where her sick kid was getting oxygen or something. Apparently Macy explained it on the show, and so Whitney feels really bad for doing that, but it was a day where her son was getting better. Anyways, she filmed a TikTok video when she was in the hospital while she was, waiting for a kid to get helped by a doctor, or he was getting treatment from the hospital in a room. I'm explaining it because it's just so crazy. Like, I could never film a TikTok in a hospital room, like dancing, like she's moving her hips too, and her kid is right here on the ventilator or something, like, or has like a neck brace. It's actually one of the most disturbing things on the face of the internet. Like, I don't know how she's able to put up a smile and move her hips. Her hips don't lie. It doesn't. And then her son is like on. The producers of this show is like, we reached jackpot. I'm sorry, I'm explaining it. Y'all be like, you're looking at me and like, there's no way this happened. It happened, girl. Guys, people, bros, it happened. She filmed a TikTok and her son's like there on the ventilator. And she's like, and I'm like, oh my God. So I get it. But I think Whitney doesn't understand, like, what Taylor did is like crazy, like all happened all in like 6 months. But like, we get why Taylor did that, like, because she's makes horrible decisions. But like, Taylor is like your character, and that's the thing too. I think it's like different levels of bad character and judgment. I think that's the reason why nobody, and it's a kid. Like, once you evolve a kid, it's like, where's your judgment and your character? In hell? Like, but I still love Whitney. But I think that's why Whitney's so upset. The public forgives, or not forgives, but kind of like forgets Whitney's like laundry list of issues from here to Mexico. And then you have like Whitney's one thing. And that's why Whitney goes, okay, why can't everybody forget what I did? Baby girl, we can't forget because a kid was involved. And that's why. And if Taylor did it would be the same thing. But yeah, so there's that. And then obviously Taylor is a quite emotional girl. And listen, it's okay to be emotional. And I think like the girls on the cast do not understand that. And it's not only that emotional, like Taylor, Whitney is not afraid to really show her emotion. Like, if she's gonna cry, she's gonna freaking cry. She's not gonna hold it. And it may seem like a show or dramatic or whatever it is in the moment, but that's how she's feeling. These people are not her friends. They do not validate her feelings. They do not, she's right. They don't ask her and say, are you okay? Because it seems to me that Whitney is still healing from all of the things that has happened to her and her husband, because her husband's gay. And then the fact that, you know, people are really not liking the fact that she did that video with her kid, right? So honestly, I do think she's really healing through these things, and she really has a lot of high expectations for her friends. And because her expectations from her friends are here and they meet her here, she gets upset. And Demi and I think Macy did say, yeah, Whitney is usually the one that reaches out to us and asks us, are you okay? And for nobody to do that to Whitney, that's really rude, and it goes to show they were never your friends. I feel so bad for Whitney, and I do think the type of mentality that is going against Whitney is mean girl behavior, high school behavior. It makes no sense why everybody hates Whitney. Listen, I do not agree that Whitney gave that box of cereal. I think that was rude. However, I think it would have been better done if you did it that, you know, not in her house where her husband is like standing right behind Demi. It was rude and really disrespectful, especially when Demi did say, don't ever bring this up ever again. It was a secret between the girls, and she brought it up and made it a whole spectacle. I get that. Whitney does seem to lash out two times as hard when she's hurt. And that's why she brought up Demi saying that Taylor's white trash, because she felt attacked. But she also loves to instigate drama. And that's what I think too. I like Taylor. I love Whitney because I do think that she is a victim in this show. But she needs to take accountable for a couple of things that she says and done, just a little bit. And that's my take. That's my take on Whitney. I really do love the girl. I really do. Hopefully she creates her homestead like she wants to create. But I really do not think she's a mean girl though. Yeah. I don't know why my accent changed. Do you know who is the mean girl? Demi. Let me just say this. If something happened to you and you are hurt by something, you take the time and ask this person, hey, why did you do this to me? And I get it. Like, Whitney is so hurt. And Whitney has lashed out because she feels like she has no friends. So she wants to draw blood because she's hurting. And people do not get that. And I think Taylor kind of got that when she had that conversation with Whitney. When they did that house thing. They went to the house. And so in that conversation, Taylor was trying to figure out, like, I get it. I know you're her. And I know that's why. Obviously, Whitney does care. But for Demi to be like, this is this way to me. This is who you are. I'm going to act 2 times more than this to you. Demi thinks it's okay to fight fire with fire. Because you're fighting fire with fire, you're not the victim, Demi. You are not. Not only you have used fire, you've used brimstone, you use guns, you use arrows, you use all of these things and that are so unnecessary. You've beaten this girl down, and it's quite clear that Whitney's just a hurt girl. And Demi's like, I'm gonna be that mean girl for the season. And yes, Demi is that girl, and I don't like her. And they just make Whitney the bad girl in this season. I don't know why. And I will also talk about this, why all these people are also not friends to me. Like, these people are not friends. But I'm just going to go on. So, oh yeah, Demi, everybody's gorgeous. Her husband is my type. FYI. Okay. So hot. Jesse. I think Jesse is Demi's pit bull. Jesse is Demi's pit bull. Okay? Jesse will do all of Demi's hard work and bidding. Okay? I do not like Jessie. I think she's a sheep, but she's even beyond a sheep. She's a pit bull. She will fight for the mean girl. She's like, you know when Mean Girls the movie, you have like the blonde girl who's in the middle, and then like the two other white girls who end up being brown-haired girls. She's the brown-haired girl. She's one of those brown-haired friends. That's who Jess is, and I don't like her. And I also do think Jessie would be really great in Love Island. And I also don't think, I don't know, like, I can't say if any of these girls are more actual true Mormon, because I do not know the Mormon faith. I do not know any girls who are in the Mormon faith, so I can't really say that. But we'll talk about that at the end. I'm sorry. I'm just go through the characters, guys. Go through the characters. Ooh, Jen Affleck, who's apparently second cousins to Ben Affleck. You heard that right. I didn't know that. But they don't talk. Jen Affleck, gorgeous girl. Smart girl. Yes, her husband is also a psycho at the highest level. I'm sorry. Let's go back to what he said so far in the season. I don't care about MOMTOK. That's right. You don't care. Jen's husband. I forgot her name for a second. Jen's husband. Okay. Jen's husband, who his name is, I think it's Jen. Jen's husband is Zach Affleck. Zach, your parents are rich. They're surgeons. They're heart surgeons, apparently. And they gave you a bunch of money. And you are supposed to use that money for medical school. You blew through all that money by gambling. Your gorgeous, smart, hardworking wife is giving you tens of thousands of dollars for you to go to medical school. Money that she created through this MOMTOK. You are now telling her MOMTOK is useless, that she should leave her family and friends and everything that she knows to go and follow you to go to medical school. You told her she can't go to Chippendales, even though she never touched or saw any of the men. And that you were going to divorce her just because she saw her friends pour oil on. I'm sorry. That sounds like the real Mormon faith. Right there. That sounds like the real Mormon faith. That sounds like a psycho Mormon. That sounds like the real Mormon faith. And I'm not saying all Mormons are like that, but I'm like, that's Mormon. That's Mormon. Now, I don't really understand as to why Jen is with Zach. I'm going to be honest. And I think she tried to explain it in the last episode, which is, as a Mormon, what is important to you is your fate and your family. Those are the two only things. She is quite clear that she deserves more. She's quite clear she's the bee's knees. She's quite clear she shouldn't be treated like that, and yet she is with him. She's doing this because this is what she's been told to do. I do suspect a divorce in their future. I do. I'm just saying. I do. And now Jen is in New York with this man while he goes to medical school that you are solely funding, and you don't want to be there. While he treats you and tells you the one group that has given you all of you guys' income to live life is useless. Psycho. Number 1, psycho. Number 2, Dakota. Number 3, actually no. Number 1 psycho is Brandon. Number 2 psycho, Zach. Number 3 psycho is Dakota. Because Brandon, which is Taylor's ex-husband, like tried to like physically assault her. I think that's why like they both got charged with DV. in the beginning of the season. Oh my God, you cannot make this stuff up. Like, you're probably thinking, this is real, guys. This is real. Continue moving on. Michaela, we know nothing about Michaela, but what I do know is she's a sheep. Michaela hates Whitney for what reason? Let me know in the back. Let me know. Does anybody know why Michaela hates Whitney? I don't know the reason, but she's a sheep. She's a sheep, not a pit bull. She's a sheep. All we see is smirks and smiles, girl. Know nothing about the girl. All people know about her is that she married her husband really young. She married at the age of 16 and he was like 29 or something like that. Some crazy age. But we don't know nothing about this girl. Other than the fact that she hates Whitney for we don't know the reason. Moving on. Macy. Macy to me seems like a good friend. Macy seems like the good person, like the only person I feel like I would be friends with on the show. The only person. Why? Because she gives grace to her friends. She's there for Whitney. She's there for Taylor. Now, it does seem like Macy is there for Whitney when Wincy wants to talk about the things that are happening to her, and there for Taylor as well. She's such a good friend for Taylor. She is so honest to Taylor and saying, hey, Dakota, the psycho that you're with may or may not be cheating on you. Just letting you know, I'm here for you. I do not like him as your life partner. That's a friend. She was there during all of the hard times with Taylor's DV, Taylor's arrest, Taylor's pregnancy, Taylor's party. That's a friend. I love Macy. Period. And for her to then cut ties when Whitney did not come to her launch of her baby mama supplements, I get it. And that's fair. Here's the thing. Nobody wants to reach out and make amends. I do think everybody should have reached out to Whitney. Because if somebody left my MOMTOK group, I would have been like, are you okay, girl? What happened? Why did you leave part of her group? But no, everybody saw Whitney left and say, bye. They didn't ask her, how you doing? Are you okay? Macy's great. I do love Macy. And the reason why I love Macy, she's a confident girl, not afraid of, she is afraid of confrontation, but she's a confident girl, level-headed, and yet doesn't make crazy decisions, because she did make them in the past with her ex-husband. So she gets it. And I think that's a great person to have on the show. Like, she seems like the only normal person that I can relate to on the show. I can relate to Whitney. Let me just conclude on this. Like, I can relate to Whitney. Like, what Whitney is going through with the MOMTOK girls is what I went through with some of my friendships, is that you feel hurt and your friends don't really know as to why you're hurt. However, Whitney doesn't do a good job of communicating why she's hurt. She just expects everybody on the show, everybody in MOMTOK to just get that she's hurt. And it doesn't work like that. And Whitney needs to communicate her feelings and the issues. But because she keeps saying, I don't care and I'll do it again, it's quite clear she's traumatized and hurt. And she has this wall up where nothing can really penetrate. Like, she does put this wall up so she doesn't get hurt again, while she thinks she puts a brick wall, but it's actually a glass door. We can see right through it. So, who's a good friend? Macy. Who's the mean girl? Demi. Who's the pit bull? Jesse. Let me describe you friendship. This is what I expected MOMTOK to be. If somebody's hurt, if like nobody was there for Whitney when Whitney found out that her husband's gay, okay? Nobody was there for Taylor when Taylor went through all of these series of like crazy events in like months, gets, super traumatized from being part of a swinging thing, which honestly, the way Taylor described this swinging thing, it seemed like they didn't have no boundaries or rules based off of what I know about polygamy and polygamous relationships. I've never been in one. I'm not in one. But based on what I do, my knowledge of them is that there are tons of rules and limitations surrounding those type of relationships. And the swinging club seemed like they had no rules or limitations, so they just did whatever, and that's why everybody got hurt. But anyways, nobody was there for Taylor's swinging thing, the fallout of the swinging thing, Taylor getting divorced, Taylor then meeting another abusive partner, Dakota, Taylor being Taylor being charged for DV, Taylor then go to jail, Taylor doing promotion, Taylor getting, knocked up by her toxic Dakota. No one was there for Taylor. So to me, they act like they're friends. They don't act like friends. They act like business associates. Okay, these are the craziest group of white girls I've ever seen. Okay, Hulu, give us season 2, baby girl. I was gonna clap. I was like, you guys' ears might be ringing. Give us season 2 because that was really freaking good. That was good. And I really want to know like what part of it was produced and what part it was not. I really want to know what I mean. It's quite clear to me all of this is organic. Like this all happened and it just unfolded. And Hulu's like, oh my god, so much has happened. This is amazing. Okay, come over there. I feel like the producer just sat back and was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be rich today. Hulu's like, we did it, guys. We found our show. We found our Love Island. We found our Love is Blind. We found our Real Housewives. We found it. And it's really good. They did a great job. The editing for me for the first episode was incredible. I love the editing. It was completely different. And that's how I knew that this was going to be completely different. The intro, incredible. I wish they dropped the intro though, or made it shorter after episode 1. The intro, incredible. The people that they picked for the show, incredible. Even though everybody's in MOMTOK, I really want them for season 2 to bring in Taylor's ex-best friends in this. I really do. That would be so good. Of course, it ended with Macy calling the girl who supposedly said that she slept with Dakota. I think what she's doing is okay. And I do think what she's doing, again, she's being a friend. To me, that's a friend. If someone is telling my friend that someone is who's up with my man, I expect my friend to go over and investigate. Give me the details and come back to me. What I don't like is Dakota going to my friend. So, for instance, Dakota going to Macy and be like, what you're doing is crazy. You're the problem. No, Dakota, you are the problem of their relationship. Both of you guys are. You and Taylor do toxic things to each other. But it's like, it's 75% Dakota, 25% Taylor. Oh, God, I had all that in me, guys. I had all that in me. It was so much. I literally just finished watching the season right before I turned on the camera. It was really good. But I'm happy to end it. Like, a lot of it was like too much toxicity. Like, they keep saying friends and MOMTOK, but like, they're not friends. I just don't understand. I'm just watching all of this and it's like, I don't really understand. That has to be one of the best reality TV shows in the last 2 years. Reality TV's back, y'all. If you don't like it, take it or leave it. Reality TV's back. Like, everybody I know is watching this show. Like, everybody I know. Like, people I wouldn't even think should be watching the show because the drama is just so ridiculous. Like, these people, they cannot make this up. Anyways, that's all my thoughts on that. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 across the board. And Hulu, you did it. You did it. And yes, you'll be seeing more recaps coming up. Hope you guys like this episode of I'm About It. Please do subscribe and like. That would be really great for me and my channel. Like, comment, like, subscribe. And yeah, another video will be coming real soon. Turn on your notifications. Bye, y'all. Stay woke and stay healthy and stay safe.